part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane.
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action.
This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Birthright.
You're listening to the Krypton Report.
Hey, we just watched the new movie, Battle of the Supersons. Solomon, what'd you think?
It was good. Yeah, it was good. I think it was good. But also I don't like about the movie. What I don't like about the movie is kind of Robin's hair. Not at the end, like.
Sayla, what about you?
I loved it. There's nothing wrong, but the only thing is wrong is why the Starman has to come out their mouth.
Oh, Starro? Cut out their mouth?
Yeah, that's disgusting. And I don't like when their eyes pop. And I don't like when he has a one eye.
Gotcha. Anything else, Solomon?
Yes. The thing I like about it is Starro's look.
Oh, the hive mind Starro?
Yep.
I like the big Starro.
See, the big Starro is different from the little Starros. Because the big Starro has like gold stuff on it.
Alright, well thanks guys. Welcome to the Krypton Report podcast. I'm your host, Tyler, the Superman of Blue, the Man of Tomorrow. And with me, as always, is James, the Man of Steel, Superman of Red. What's up, James?
What's up? How's it going, Tyler?
It's going well, man. We're back to our normal episodes, and we're
back.
getting our counter back on track because, man, between illness, pre-planned events, special one-offs with the Henry Cavill return news. Like, I'm never going to pre-plan that far ahead. And again, like I was like, oh, we got this, and it just went to craziness. But we are back on track, everybody, and we have a lot of things to catch up on. So we're just going to kind of go through, the news as quickly as we can, and here we go. Are you ready?
I am ready. I'm ready.
So, as of this recording today, they announced that Superman 2, 3, and 4 will be coming to 4K in 2023. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Okay. You know why I say okay? It's because they released Superman the movie on 4K, but they only released the theatrical version. And personally, I like the extended director's cut of Superman the movie better. And I would buy that one on 4K. But they're not releasing that. They're not releasing Superman Returns or the Richard Donner cut on 4K. And I'm just like, well, I wouldn't mind having Superman the movie, but I want the extended version. Superman 2, sure, but I'm not going to buy 3 or 4 on 4K. Like, I have them on Blu-ray, and I am completely okay with that.
I mean, I have them on DVD, and I wanted to get them on Blu-ray, so...
Which, I mean, I recommend...
I don't know if I need to jump up to 4K.
If you can get the Blu-ray box set thing like I have, totally worth it because of all the special features. But no, I don't need the 4K of those. Especially because a lot of times they don't take the time to really upgrade it. Like, do you remember like when some of those movies were first coming out on DVD, and they were like older movies being put on DVD, and then you'd watch them and you realize all they did was take the VHS transfer and like copy it to a DVD. It really wasn't DVD quality. I kind of feel like some of those, when they're like 4K releases for movies that are a little older, they don't take the time to really make them pop.
Right. Well, and the higher the resolution you go on these things, especially the older you get for a film, the more the seams start to show.
Yep.
The more wires you see, the more carts that they use to move stuff you see. Things
Matt,
like that you wouldn't have seen, that you wouldn't have been able to see or really catch
the
before.
matte paintings, the makeup, things like that
Yeah.
start to see. But in other news, we got our first look at the upcoming Legion film, the Legion of Heroes next DC animated film. And what surprised us was it shows Brainiac and Supergirl, but it looks like it's going to be in continuity. That kind of threw us because we didn't expect this one to be one of the continuity films.
I mean, there was. I think we might have speculated that one might have the chance to be, but we also were only focused on War World.
Yeah, we have most of our eggs in that.
being a in continuity film.
That's where all of our eggs were in that basket.
Yeah, but I think that it did. I'm excited for it. It's just very curious as to how they are building this in continuity universe as it goes, because
Some of it's
so
like
much is happening just off screen or behind the camera, just stuff you don't see. You only see a small snippet, and we got the introduction to Superman. We got Flash, who knew Superman and went back in time and went to a parallel universe and met a bunch of different people to come back, and then they go and they go to meet Bruce
with Green Arrow.
with Green Arrow, yeah.
And then
Go ahead.
who
Who you didn't see until the
Green Lantern film,
Green Lantern movie,
where we already knew Hal Jordan. So yeah, there is
knew Hal Jordan, and the Justice League has existed, and they have a watchtower in space.
A lot more stuff has happened off screen than we were prepared for. So I'm excited. That's really all we know about that right now. But more news to come. Let's see. There is talk that we'll kind of lump these two together, but it won't take. What's being said is they already have ideas and they were working on a script that it wouldn't take long for Black Adam 2 to happen. And that's really that. They're ready to go. And on the same note, there supposedly is already written a Flash 2 script, and there's more talks about someone being replacing Ezra. So we'll see. We're going to press pause and hear a few words from our other podcasts on Press Play Podcast Network.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us and then listen in.
If you are like Tyler and James and can't get enough Super Talk, check out these other podcasts. Digging for Kryptonite, Supergirl Radio, The Last Sons of Krypton, The Superboy Legacy Podcast, All-Star Superfans, Superman the Animated Podcast, The Aspiring Kryptonians, Always Hold On to Smallville, The Geek of Steel, and Truth, Justice, and Hope.
Remember to check out Krypton Report on all social media platforms. Go to linktree.com/Krypton Report. You find all of our information. $1 a month. You'll get extra special content that you don't get on the main show, like movie commentaries and whatever else comes out of our mouths. So check it out, patreon.com/Krypton Report.
This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
Oh, hey. Wait. Oh, hey, we got another guest joining us.
Oh, it's me, Solomon. So
Hey,
yeah,
Solomon's here. All right.
the beatboxing man himself.
So Another point of news, this is interesting. So in The Flash last season, they are adding Red Death from Dark Knight's Metal series and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And since Red Death is a version of Batman in this universe, it's going to be Batwoman, and it's Javicia Leslie is back as Red Death in the Flash's series, and she's all like black. I sent you the pictures. It's all when you see the pictures.
Yep. It's really
And
cool.
it's all, yeah, she's black and red, kind of.
It's probably one of my favorite Batmans, like the form of Batman in that comic. It's probably one of my favorite one.
She looks good. I mean, it looks like a cool costume. I mean, the Flash has done a good job of trying to do
Wait,
as many.
is it she?
Yeah, and this is going to be Batwoman as the Red Death.
That was great. That's Red Dead's good in this.
Nope. Alternate dark dimension version. So I'm curious to see what they'll do with that. Let's see. We also have Antonio Campos will direct and serve as the showrunner of the Batman spin-off Arkham series for HBO Max. So
where's the Arkham? Is that the second one?
that's just one step more into, something with that series. We have that the Batman 2 is eyeing a 2025 release date. With Solomon, how old will you be in 2025?
I will be 10 years old. I'll be 10.
And I'll be 40. Jesus.
Oh my god.
Lord.
I'm like, man.
I'm going to be 40 next time Batman and Superman reach the big screen.
It's like, come on, man. Let's see. We have cast. If you are a fan of How I Met Your Mother, we have cast our new Sophia Falcone, or Falcone, however you pronounce it, and Christine Milioti, who played the mom on How I Met Your Mother, will be Sophia Falcone in the Penguin HBO Max The Batman Universe spin-off series.
Yeah, the one with Colin Farrell's Penguin.
I just think it's funny because Sophia, this will be our, second version or third version of Sophia?
At least second live action version. There was one on Gotham that I know of, and then this one.
Which was Crystal Reed on Gotham. And
yeah, she did a great job there. She's a good actress. And this actress, she's a very good actress as well.
But Sophia Falcone Gigantu is supposed to be a very hefty gal. Like, thick, big, powerful. And they be getting these skinny, twiggy girls. Like, talk about improper comic translations. Everyone's talking about comic book accuracy. Hello? Where's all the thick girls?
Oh, Hollywood don't care about that. They don't. Maybe a new DC Studios will. We'll see one of these days.
Speaking of new DC Studios, James Gunn and Peter Safran are the new heads of DC Studios, which that's the new name. And officially it's called the DC Universe for the films. And they are basically, for the layman's terms, they are like the Kevin Feige of the new DC.
Yeah, they're
universe.
like the CEOs and the CCOs. It's kind of cool how they have a creative as well as a producer,
which
co-sharing the roles of heads of DC Studios.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I kind of gave my thoughts on a recent episode that I impromptu did. James, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, like I said, a creative and a producer, that's really cool. That's a good, I think that's a good strategy. I mean, the things we've heard kind of just towing the PR line. So we have to see where things go from here. I mean, we've had since the merger, we've had some reshoots and adding some characters into movies here and there, mainly Ben Affleck in Aquaman and Henry and Black Adam. So, I mean, there's at least we know that they would like to keep those people around. And I mean, James Gunn and Peter Safran, from all I understand, are really good with working with talent. So, we'll see how they do from the business side.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Safran is the producer, so he's all business side, but James Gunn, people love working with him. Whatever your tastes are on his
Work itself.
films, like,
Yeah.
because he's run the gamut with some films, but a lot of them are just very James Gunn. And
Yeah, I mean, when he has no reins and no need not to be himself, like, why not,
yeah, so hopefully we get, I know that most of us are just kind of hoping we get some sort of direction, with the universe, but allow the movies, the directors, the actors to make each character and each movie the story it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? The entire DC universe does not have to be one set theme, one set tone the whole way through.
Yep. I mean,
None of the comics are that way, so why should the films be exactly that way? But as
my
long
man
as there's some
James.
connectivity
My
between
man.
them, I think that's what I'm hoping for,
Yeah, I agree. Now, more in that as it develops and we think on it.
Yeah,
Also,
it just happened, and we have yet to see what they want to do. At this point, there's nothing specifically from them greenlit, so like we don't know where they lie and everything. But if they got the job, I mean, they must share some views with Zaslav, and I mean the clear choice for like who should be these characters, and I mean, Henry's a big one. Like,
yep.
he is our modern day, he is our Superman today. And I think, people, he's been trending since he showed up in Black Adam, and he's been trending since he said that he is back as Superman, and he can't wait to do more, and like it hasn't gone away. So I mean, that's kind of a big deal.
Speaking of Henry, Solomon and I, so my father-in-law traded me a home theater system that he got for my sound bar.
Yep.
So Solomon and I hooked it up, and what was the first movie we decided to check out with the sound bar?
Man of Steel.
So we watched Man of Steel and about crapped our pants at how the sound is. So we decided we just finished up last night the Snyder trilogy. And then today we're gonna watch Wonder Woman later. So we're just rewatching.
You're watching like the 4 best movies that have come out. So,
and then we're gonna do Aquaman and then Shazam. We're rewatching, the DC movies that we haven't seen or that he hasn't seen in a long time. Because after we saw Black Adam, he was more interested in rewatching Man of Steel, and he's like, I don't remember really liking it. And then we watched it, and he really liked it, didn't you, Solomon?
Mm-hmm.
So we're just gonna rewatch him now that he's a little older and stuff. So that's what we're working on. Quick note: the Sandman has been renewed for season 2 at Netflix. Technically a DC property, but you know what hasn't been renewed, James?
I think you're gonna tell me.
If this was an explicitory show, this is where I would go off the rails. Okay?
Yeah, I think you would.
This is where I would be like, what the? And I would have to go blank for 20 minutes. Stargirl has been canceled after season 3. And that is a shame. Solomon and I have been watching season 3 together, haven't we, buddy? Are you enjoying it?
Yes.
And it's a great family show. It's like the best DC TV show that no one's talking about because it doesn't have any huge characters in it. And I'm mad that it's not like, oh, Stargirl, is being saved or anything like that. Like to HBO, but at the same time, it's a lot of background crap because we know the CW is dying in the way that we know it because they have a new parent company. We know that the Flash, this is the last season coming up. Superman Lois is doing season 3. I hope that show is just taken over to HBO Max. I have a feeling that Titans won't make it past season 4, or Pennyworth past season 3, or Doom Patrol past season 4, as part of just kind of this reorganizing structure and getting everything back under like one house, or maybe they'll do something cool, because it would be awesome if somehow Brendan Thwaites' Nightwing rolls up in a film or something. I don't know. It really bums me out that Stargirl's leaving us. But we got 3. I mean, that show's had a rocky run from being a DC Universe show on season 1 to season 2 being the CW, and now season 3 on the CW and it being canceled, and it's heartbreaking. So that's all I'm gonna say.
It's been a great show. I mean, at this point, we don't know what's happening with the CW. Most of their DC content is being canceled or is finishing up, and nobody's excited for Gotham Knights. So
yeah, but I'm about to say, speaking of canceled, can we please get Gotham Knights canceled?
Like,
please.
Nobody is excited for that. Like,
I even forgot that it was a show as I was like just running down stuff, because I was like, man, that leaves only one property left at the CW. Then someone pointed out, well, Gotham Knights, and I'm like, it'll get canceled like Naomi did.
I was gonna say, and nobody's excited for it. Like, their main character, they're trying to toe the line of a main character that they've randomly created, and they hope people will watch because they've got names of other side characters.
It's too tertiary
surrounding the Bat family, but yeah, it's very tertiary.
Compared to like Batwoman, you had Batwoman, who is a legit character. You had the son of Lucius Fox, so you recognize the name, and then you introduce more things as the show went on. And then Titans, you have Robin into Nightwing, Dick Grayson. You have Robin, Jason Todd. Then you had Barbara Gordon, and then you had the other Titans. So you had bigger names of these comic book properties.
Well, you had names of people who actually headline a comic book property,
right?
Not
Gotham Knights is
whatever the hell. I can't even remember his name because I'm completely uninterested.
Turner Hooch, that's a dog, Turner and Hooch.
Yeah.
But I mean, the other characters are all newer characters that are great to incorporate in as a show runs for those people who are deep in the comic, but not to launch a show. And if they ever air the pilot, I'm going to try to pirate it. Knock on wood, I didn't say that. Because I don't want CW to have a rating mark for me, and I don't want to pay for it. I just want to see it so I can rip on it. And am I ever negative about anything, James? No, I'm not. But and this show, I am just going to be like,
I had something to say.
Say it.
About Stargirl.
Okay, say it, buddy.
I am really mad. Like, I was so pumped for another season. Like, I was really excited for another season. Like, I wanted them to make 2 more seasons. But they just canceled it, and now I'm really mad. Like, can we, like, please, like,
save Stargirl.
Uncancel it? Yeah. That's what I want to do. Just uncancel it.
I agree, buddy. I agree, Solomon. We should uncancel Stargirl. And speaking of canceled or retooling, the show that'll probably never come to light, the Berlanti Abrams hybrid weird production of Green Lantern, is being retooled as a Jon Stewart show. One, awesome. It should have always been John Stewart in the first place. He's the Green Lantern that everyone knows, loves, and doesn't get the respect that he deserves. No one cares about Alan Scott and Guy Gardner. Sorry. Those are the characters you bring on later. You have to have your flagship character. We're a little howled out, you know, and this generation recognizes John Stewart as Green Lantern. Okay? That's all I got to say about that. So I hope this show gets produced. I hope that things go well. You know, Berlanti is a huge Green Lantern fan, and out of everything that he's tried, he pioneered the first Green Lantern film with Ryan Reynolds, and then that got kind of taken away from him. So he has tried. Green Lanterns, the character seems like they're having the hardest time getting off the ground with, Wayne T. Carr being filmed scenes for Justice League, and it being Martian Manhunter in the end. I still, after rewatching Justice League with Solomon, I do wish it was Green Lantern in that film.
Absolutely. I mean, when it comes to that, the biggest misstep is the end of the Lois and Martha scene.
That is
and then you could have just had Green Lantern at the end instead and saved Martian for some kind of origin.
Yeah. I pitched in a previous episode my Martian Manhunter short film idea. James Gunn, give me a call. I'll write it up, buddy. But, I want this Green Lantern show. I think it would be awesome as just some sort of like Lantern series that we can get all the different Lantern characters. Because there are so many Earthbound Lanterns I would like to see. And then, one of them shows up in a future Justice League movie. Because I really think that under the gun,
nice.
I think we'll build to a Justice League 2 that that theoretically could be still them versus Darkseid. Depending on which canon of film that Warner Brothers recognizes, there's only a few things that are really significantly different. One being Victor's father being gone, and the other just kind of Darkseid showing up. There's little details, but those can be reworked. A potential Justice League 2 that has Black Adam in it and Shazam with the team. Probably especially Black Adam, because we know how The Rock is. The Rock versus Darkseid.
And the thing about the Green Lantern franchise there, if you have a connected series to the DCU, you can really just have you can have them doing their cosmic stuff over here, and you can bring in and take out lanterns as needed.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have you can have the lanterns from Earth, you can have some in space, and you can have others on Earth.
Yep.
So they could even be interchangeable on Earth. One movie you have John Stewart, the next you got Jessica Cruz.
Yeah.
As your lantern for the movie, depending on what you needed, what you wanted to do with that film.
Exactly. And I just think that we're at a point now where we need Green Lantern back. And that's that. So that's all the news. We're all caught up. Now it's time to talk Battle of the Supersons. The first computer animated direct-to-video film from DC. And who else better to talk with than my super son Solomon?
Yeah.
So, spoiler-free thoughts. So, just Solomon, as an overview, what did you think of the movie?
I loved it. It was good.
All right, James.
Yeah, I had a great time watching the movie. Really, really cool family dynamics. Superman and Lois and John Batman and Damian, and then their interactions with the overarching DC universe. Yeah, it was a fun movie. It was really cool. It really brought out the dynamic that we liked from the Super Sons book
Mm-hmm.
when John was young, before he was needlessly aged up.
Bendis. Solomon, do your yell to the sky that you do and say Bendis. Do it for us.
Bendis!
Good boy.
That was great. I mean, not that I don't love what Tom Taylor's doing with John.
No, Tom Taylor's doing great.
He's great.
Yeah, he's doing great.
But
the how we got there was all Bendis, and Taylor's like, well, I'll do the best with what I got, and he's doing a great job.
yeah, and you know what? Honestly, it's going to be nice to have, because Taylor's going to continue on with John, and it's going to be really great to see Taylor tackle that. He's going to tackle some of that time that John was captured, was imprisoned by Ultraman.
Yep.
So, I think giving that to him is a good idea, because Bendis just cut out 7 years of his life and said, "Screw you guys," when it comes to the character, and we're gonna get to at least get some knowledge on what happened, and we get to see John against Ultraman. That's gonna be great.
Yep.
I know I steered away from the movie a tad, but
no, you're fine.
Yeah, great. It was a really great movie, and the dynamic that the two Super Sons had. We've always had interactions with different people, and like Superman, and with Connor and Supergirl. But this, and so Damian is a specific Robin. He's a specific type of character.
Yep.
And the only person who really, I don't want to say gets under his skin, because that's not, especially in a negative way. Like, John is able to penetrate Damian and actually interact like kid to kid.
Yeah. I think there's I don't want to say an innocence in John that part of Damian wishes he would have had or longs for. So it's almost like he gets some of that back by being friends with John.
Yeah.
It's like a way of seeing that he doesn't have to be the darkness inside. So I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I watched it twice. I enjoyed my experience watching it because it came. It was delivered from Amazon. I always order my movies from Amazon because then I don't have to worry about them. They just auto ship, and I come home from work and there it is. And the kids came in. They wanted to watch it. We sat down. We haven't done this in a while until this movie rewatch thing we're doing. We just sat down, me and the kids, man, on the couch together, the three of us, turned it on and just sat there and watched it. And it was a great time and experience with the kids watching it. And that's what we've needed in our DC. We had that with Super Pets in theaters, but as far as just a home viewing thing, this was great. So now we're gonna get into our spoilers. So we're gonna. If you haven't watched it yet, stop the podcast here or come back. If you have, finish it up. If this is where you're gonna end the podcast for now, check us out on all our social media or anything like that. And thanks for listening. And we're getting into spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler time. All right. I made some notes and I kind of broke it down. I like that we're seeing the DC overall logo, which I figure will change here soon. But it seems like it was a little slowed down. Sometimes I feel like they play it real fast, and sometimes I feel like they shorten it and slow it down. But it starts on Krypton, and we see that Starro is on Krypton. I really felt that wasn't needed. I really don't think we needed the Krypton scene at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think it was needed, but I guess to have some sort of explanation for Starro. I mean, it wasn't.
But I mean, we
Wasn't
didn't really get an explanation. I mean, we did and we didn't in the Suicide Squad, and it made sense on how.
Yeah, no, this just came from space.
Exactly, that's all we need. It came from space.
Yeah.
Ooh, space.
I mean, at this point, it's okay. The thing that it does in this movie is it gives us the interaction of John and Jor-El in the fortress,
which is cool.
John is or Jor-El says, so this is John, something to that effect. He's
my grandson.
He my grandson. He knows of John's existence. He knows that John is born. He knows that he has a grandson, and the John doesn't. Obviously, John in this movie just finds out that his dad's Superman, and this is the first time he's ever been to the fortress. So, like, he gets to meet his grandfather for the first time. I think that's really the only reason Starro exists on Krypton, as it were, in a tank and stows away across space with Kal-El's ship, is so that way Jor-El can. It expands on that interaction that he has with John.
I mean, it does. I mean, it works. I still feel like it was a little unnecessary, but you're right. It does work. And then the next part is, we have an opening credit scene, which is really cool because it's all done in like very old school comic art, telling the story of Superman and then Lois and then the birth of John. And then the animation style. How did you feel about the animation style? How did you feel, Solomon, about the way it was animated?
It was kind of weird, kind of good.
It kind of reminded me a little bit similar in like the Spider-Verse style, a little, but of course this is a direct to DVD compared to being a, for the film.
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty large budget for the for
Spider-Verse, but I mean, like
Spider-Verse, yeah.
It's like, you remember how like you'd watch a DC or a Disney like theatrical animated film, and then you'd watch its direct-to-video sequel. How the animation would have a lot of shortcuts and cheaper.
Oh yeah,
kind of similar to that.
I mean, it was pretty good for direct to video.
Oh, it totally was. It was great.
Yeah, it was great. It is great animation. It does at times get a little choppy, but other than that, I mean, I didn't have any complaints.
Oh no, Solomon! Solomon's leaving us. He's got to go fight crime. Go save the people, Solomon. Okay?
I will.
All right, Superboy.
Bye.
You go save everybody, okay?
Bye, everybody. Bye, guys. See you probably in the next video we make.
All right.
Probably.
Go save the day, Solomon. I agree with you. I'm going back to my notes here. I love the way it opens and John hates that his parents are reporters. He's talking about how boring they are. He's like, you guys have the worst jobs ever.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you do something? And I love, we haven't acknowledged that John is voiced by Jack Dylan Grazer, who I had the moment of, kind of meeting quickly and waving at in his really long line, who is most famously known in the DC world as Freddie Freeman currently. So that was cool. I think he does a great job of voicing that youthful energy. that is needed for John, and really brings the character to life. What do you think, James?
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job. He really brings a lot of that excitement like he had as Freddie Freeman, that energy.
I mean, everybody loves Freddie.
Because John is very, for the most part, optimistic.
Yeah, he is.
You know, everything that's happening, he's real excited. You know, like he doesn't freak out about his dad being Superman. He doesn't freak out about being half alien. Every time he does something, every time some superpowers manifest, he's like really excited. The only time he's freaked out is the first time when his heat vision goes off and blows up the grain tower.
I really like that. Like, it shows the emotion. Like, so he gets upset after losing in the baseball game and everything, and he goes running, and we see his speed start to pick up, and his speed's picking up, and then his heat vision. And the thing I thought was funny was, you know, he catches on fire, then he goes to the barn and he's crying. We never see anyone put out the fire. Okay, I just headcanon that Superman, you know, freeze breath it, you know, like, but
yeah.
Was one step, hold your thought there, but like one step earlier, John goes to look for his gifts. He finds a Superman costume and he's like, cosplay. Like it was hilarious how he just like, cosplay.
Yeah, that was really funny. He was like, cosplay? And tossed it off to the side.
And then
I was like, that's great.
I love the way that John's crying in the barn and we just hear Clark's voice off camera. And it comes into focus and he's hovering there as Superman with his glasses still on, which I thought was great. Because then he says, maybe I do. And John looks up and then he takes them off. And then it cuts to, my dad is Superman. Best birthday ever.
Right.
Like,
which just before that, he was having the worst day ever. It was his birthday. It was his baseball game. He didn't get a hit. They lost the game. He was, like I say, he was disappointed his dad didn't show up. And then next thing we know, best day ever.
And let's take a quick sidestep. I did look. The voice actors for Lois and Clark are husband and wife, which I always think that's great. It adds a dimension to their performance. I don't have anything negative against the Superman, except I feel like his voice is a little deeper and stronger than I feel like this project needed. Nothing against it.
He's like he's trying. He's almost trying to sound like deeper and more up here with his Superman voice than like even Nolan North does when he's trying to distinguish Superman and Superboy in Young Justice.
Which side story, Nolan North played Jor-El in this. So he's now been Superman, Superboy, and Jor-El. And, you know, in my head canon, the voice that kind of fits this fatherly figure is more of Jason J. Lewis. You know, Justice League action style. Like, I feel like that voice would fit this, like, with the animation style. You know, Travis Willingham, I see his voice being something more like in, like, when they did the DC Universe, like, Harder Edge movies, like the New 52 inspired movies. Like, his voice compared to, like, Jason O'Mara's Batman in, like, Justice League War. Something more like that, or like if we did the World Saga, like this kind of booming voice for that, like, Gladiator Superman was what I hear. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he did a great job. So don't at me, people. I just, for this project, I think it was a little off. That's all.
I think it would be good, interesting to, for like Jason J. Lewis, if he were to have done it, like to do something less cartoony.
Oh yeah, he has it in him
as Justice League action. But it would have sounded really good.
Yeah, he has it in him for it. I mean, I just feel like there's a softerness to it, that for the animation and the story we're telling. But I do, like I said, appreciate the husband and wife thing for Lois and Superman.
Oh yeah, it worked really well in the Death of Superman for Jerry O'Connell and Rebecca Romaine as a married couple as well for Lois and Clark.
So the story moves. We get the quick. How did you feel about the American Way drop?
That one, okay, that might be one of my only real complaints is um and because it's not the same thing anymore.
It just
Um
it feels out of place
it does
because this is
it
coming out after the change.
well, I mean, yeah, after the change, but even before the change, like it in the real world sense, it didn't mean the same thing as it used to. When it was made, when it was written, and the way it stuck around for a very long time, that line just doesn't mean the same thing as it used to. It doesn't have the impact, and the change these days, truth, justice, and a better tomorrow is just so much more striking and so much more encompassing of the entire world. Everybody who likes Superman,
Yeah.
and beyond Superman, a better tomorrow is what everybody strives for, or what everybody should be striving for to make the world a better place. So to drop the line back, truth, justice, and the American way, it's dated because it just doesn't mean the same thing as it used to.
Yeah. It was a little rough, and we've talked about that till we're blue in the face. But yeah, it was a little like you're producing this now, and with John, like I just feel like it could have been something better. Let's see here.
I mean, unless they plan on having more of John later on in the universe, in movies, and maybe making him more of what they did in the comics, where he was born on Earth. Earth is his home. That's where he was born. That's where he, lives. It's where he exists. It's his world. Maybe make him, maybe help John change it to a better tomorrow as opposed to the American way. Have some sort of evolution with that from this.
That's a great point because this is a story I want a sequel to this. This can be its own kind of run. Like, give me a sequel to this and make it more now. Take Superman and Batman out of it and just focus on John and Damian. You set them up perfectly. And maybe you can bring in, because, well, we'll later see that Superman takes John to the Batcave, and John is a Batman fan. Like, we see he has a couple of Batman posters in his bedroom. We see that he thoroughly loves the superheroes. We do see a picture that has Superman on it, a poster that looks more like Super Friends style.
Yeah. Well, we got
but when he finds out his dad's Superman, he's like, "You're the best superhero other than Batman."
Yeah. Excuse me. No, what's really funny is when he's wearing his Superman hoodie, the hoodie he's known for. and especially because Robin's like, really? He's like, hey, I was a fan before I found out my dad was, Like, oh, that's good. Yeah.
He also, for his birthday, his dad got him glasses to start building like his disguise.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was cute. Now,
before they even reveal, so like, Clark is hanging out with John, and Clark sees the watchtower falling from space.
Yes.
And he makes his little excuse and he takes off, and it's really cool. It's a nice transition. He runs off, and next thing you know, they focus up and you see the red streak flying through the sky and catch the watchtower and take it back into orbit.
It was a great little quick transition thing. But yeah, I was about to say, and then Green Arrow's there, and Superman says, "Hey, can you radio Batman and tell him?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then we basically see Green Arrow gets attacked. My favorite is when Superman is flying with John, and he's like, "What is that smell?" That's Gotham City.
Right? Yeah, I like that. He's like, why isn't anybody doing anything about this? And he's like, there is, or someone is. And Batman's running across the rooftops chasing Penguin and his goons. And then he's like, aren't you going to help him? He said, actually, he gets pretty grumpy when I try to assist. And 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 then he's beating up the guys and he's like, oh, and he's like, he's actually taking it easy on him tonight.
He's taking it easy on him tonight.
Yeah.
How did you feel about Troy Baker's voice as Batman?
I mean, he didn't do a whole lot in this. I mean, they definitely kept the focus where it belonged, on the kids.
It's one of those, like, I kind of feel like I like it. Like, he's done a lot with like little Lego stuff, and
I was gonna say he's done Batman before. His Batman voice is good.
I just kind of wish, like, we would have got somebody new in a sense, like, and established this universe as Batman as someone other than like, hey, you've done Batman before, you want to do Batman again real quick, kind of thing.
Right.
That's kind of how I felt. It wasn't bad. It's just I've heard that before. What is it?
I got my Supergirl Laura here.
All right, Laura's with
I
us.
actually have she woke up. She came in here nice and quiet. I actually have Battle of the Supersons going on behind me here on the TV, and she's watching. She's liking it.
Good. That's a good child. Good parenting done right.
Mm-hmm.
Parenting done right. What I thought was interesting is, did you catch the line where John's running through like ideas of names and he says Superboy's taken, right? Just made me pause and think, like, okay.
Yeah, is there a Connor in this continuity here?
Right. So,
like,
just a thought. When we get to the Bat Cave, they have the meta analyzer, and Damian is like, we find out Damian's rejected by the Teen Titans because he doesn't care about anyone but himself. And
yeah, he's not a team player.
We meet the Bat Cow, and I love that John's like, you want me to milk her? He's like, what? It's a cow. You want me to milk her? I can do it.
Yeah, he's like, you need to milk her.
And then,
like, cows need to be milked, and he's like, no.
And then before they leave, John hands Batman like a
bucket of milk. Yeah, I love that. Which is really funny too, because he's like, of course I have a cow. And then he's like, and then he's like, who's left? When he's looking at Batman's checklist of people who've been taken off the board by Starro, and he's like, just him. And then the cow moves, and he's like, yes, I'll save him, but only because you asked me to.
And I like Damian's character because it shows that there's a good in even someone who's bred to be like the most evil assassin there is.
Well, yeah, I mean, he tells John, he says, I've killed more people than you'll ever know.
For like a kid who's like 10 to 12, that's like 8 to 12, wherever they're at. Because like in middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll make you crap your pants.
Right. The thing I thought was really, really funny, I laugh every single time, is John standing on the stairs and falling off the stairs, and he's like, "Oh, can't fly."
Yep, he can't fly. It's a ongoing theme. Like when Damian pushes him down the cavern, he's like, just trying to see if I can get his powers going.
Yeah, they talk about stressful situations. He's like, let's see, and he pushes him off, and he's falling down in the cave. And then he throws a batarang at him, and he hits him in the head.
He's like, invulnerability.
He keeps testing his invulnerability, and then he gets his super strength, and he gets punched, and he's like, so you punched yourself?
Okay, so he gets super strength with a bully, and he taunts the bully, John does, and the bully punches him in the face. And it's a really good scene, because I pointed out to Solomon, the principal's talking about this bully, and his name is...
Marvin?
Yeah, something like that. I have it in here somewhere. Melvin, yeah. I knew him, Melvin. He's a good man. And everything the principal is saying about sometimes people are mean on the outside because they need to be, looked at inside, and they'll become like the loyalist friend you ever have. It's really about what we're going to see with Damien and that
Yeah.
story. Like, so everything he's telling John right there is the arc that we're going to experience with Damien. And so Damien shows up at the school, and then John's there, and then Melvin shows up, and Damien's like, "Oh, he hit you." And then he comes up, and Damien does like the one touch, paralyzing. He's like, "My grandpa taught me. He'll be okay in a week."
A week? Yeah, that was really good.
And-
Which comes back around later on, and we'll get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we're at the interaction at the school. Lois comes in because Lois has been called because of a fight. And Lois is coming in, and she says, "Don't worry, I'll be there. Make sure he never does that again." And the principal's like, "You should be worried." Well, Lois shows up, and he's like, Damien's like, "Your mom's been taken over. She's been compromised." And he's like, "No, my mom doesn't compromise." and then he's like, "Well, then test her." And he's like, "Hey, Mom, when I get home, can I play those violent video games and eat that ice cream you were trying to hide from me?" And she's, sure, hon, anything you want. And he's like, "Yeah, she's been compromised."
And we get Starro. Like, what do you think about like this Starro, the way it like comes out the mouth?
Well, I think that's really cool because it's a version. Starro can hide.
Yes.
The spores can hide. While they're taking over people, while they're working to take over the world. I thought that was very smart. It's very creepy.
Yes.
The way they kind of like start shaking and their mouths open up, and then this big starfish comes out and attaches to their face. I mean, because we know through comics that people don't die when they get attached by Starro.
Unless
That's
it's the James Gunn movie.
Suicide Squad thing. That's a James Gunn thing specifically in that movie. But we get Lois freed from Starro because John blasts Starro with heat vision, and they drop her off in a pond. And Damien's really good at that point. He's like, "Oh no, she's fine." He's like, "We got to check on my mom. She's fine," and takes off.
James? I have no idea what happened. Yeah, it was weird.
Yep, I'm here.
What the heck? Okay.
Oh, okay. Kind of cut you out like it cut me out.
Yep.
No, my computer kept shutting down
Lois,
Chrome. That's
creepy,
what happened there.
Starro. The boys try to
somewhere
escape.
Between 32, 33.
She's on top of the
cut
plane,
that out.
And they throw her in the water. And I thought maybe it was the salt water that caused Starro to pop off. Is that? That's what I was trying to piece together, because like the heat. Because later he uses heat too, and it doesn't seem like it always comes off. But they do say that
I thought it was the heat vision.
Lois later gets a good speech about John. Heat, you can do it, kind of like thing. Let's see. So they get to the fortress, and I love this scene because John's like struggling because his strength is there now, like to put the key in. We see him barely get the key in. He's like, "Who's the man? Who's the man?" And then Damien's like, "Now you got to turn it." And John can't fly yet, so it's like, how they get up there, we don't know. They cut away, and that's kind of better to have that kind of a scene.
Yeah, I don't know how he turns it. Well, at something like that, I think that, I mean,
You're fine.
for excuse me, for the movie, excuse me, sorry, the like to build the teamwork dynamic. It would have been really cool to show like maybe he uses his grappling gun and the line like that to help John turn it, like them team up and turn it together like that. But I think for in terms of the movie and like the runtime and the comedy's sake, it was a nice cutoff.
It was
right
great.
there. Now how are you
They
going
go
to turn
inside,
it?
and who do they meet?
Aw, and then cut off, and
Krypto.
they're in the fortress.
And he attacks, and then they stop him, and they join. And that's when we meet Jarrell. And then we're at the Daily Planet, and we meet
Krypto,
Jimmy
the
Olsen,
super
looking very
dog.
classic Jimmy. They take the sweater vests are dope.
Yeah,
man.
I do love that they still that Jimmy was
they take the
still
rocket to the
in a little
watchtower.
sweater vest with his
We
bow
find
tie.
out Lexus president and Starro's infected his mind. And yeah, Lois is trying to use the emergency frequency. We see that Starro has pretty much in certain parts, we missed this line earlier, like eliminated crime because people are losing their free will and just doing what Starro wants of them. And Luther is basically telling people to submit. And now we are on the watchtower with the boys. And they open the door, and there are the Teen Titans with Wonder Girl, Beast Boy, Kid Flash, and Martian Manhunter, and Green Arrow. And Green Arrow, as I quote Damien, green counter copy of my dad.
I did love how Damien opens the door, kind of looks for a second, and then closes it again, and turns around and says, "We got to get out of here."
And Damien like is mad at him for doing it. Like,
yeah,
I'm Arrow. Yeah, that's how his immune.
And then he's like,
invulnerability.
"You're arrow proof," and he's so excited. I'm arrow proof.
Not an emotional like.
Yeah,
like
I like how I
it
like that
because
his
he's
invulnerability
acting
kicks
true
in
heroism.
for saving somebody.
And then after that, they're like, "Oh, we got this now."
Yeah, I like that's
So
when
then they
his
start
invulnerability
fighting
shows
and
up.
taking out the Titans and Martian Manhunter and Green Arrow, and then eventually you knew it was coming. They had to fight their dads. And then they switch dads because Damien takes the kryptonite ring from the pouch and fights Superman.
Yeah.
And then they meet the Hive Mind. And I think I liked it. It was more, I like how the spores look classic.
What did you think of the look of
just
this
a giant
version of
the
Starro?
spores? It looked more menacing, almost kind of scorpion-like. Yeah, it was
definitely like one of those other forms of like starfish that are almost tentacly. Like the arms are more flexible, longer, tentacle-like. But then he also had like spines and stuff. Because I mean, like starfish, they have like little spines and things. Like that's their own little defense mechanism. But this one is like massive.
It's not strong enough.
It's like doomsday bone protrusions.
So they decide that they're going to basically take the watchtower out of orbit and just let it blow up in the atmosphere and kill Starro. So we have this, they send everybody off in like the ships and the pods and stuff that are on the watchtower to Earth, and they crash. And then we see that the hive mind's losing its ability to control everything because it's injured. And that's when Batman and Superman are free. And we just have this scene of John and Damian sitting there just kind of chilling as they're falling to Earth to their death.
Yeah, it's really cool. They did. Why does Batman's bucket have a bat symbol on it? Anyways, like I swear to God, I just
It's,
saw that the
it's the
bucket
Bat Cow
that John
bucket.
hands him after milking the cow has a Batman symbol on it. Talk about your branding. Yeah. um, no, what's really cool in that moment is that uh, they they decide that the only way to do that is to take down the watchtower, and they save everybody. Everybody will be safe once Starro's destroyed, but they have to remain there and keep Starro there, the hive mind there, to destroy
Yeah,
it.
2 kids, man. Like,
So very, very heroic from,
and Damien's like,
two
he's like, Dad,
two
didn't
10
think
to
this is the way I
12-year
would go.
olds.
Ninja?
Yeah, 2 kids.
Maybe. Joker?
So
Riding in the watchtower in space? Didn't see it coming. And they're just chilling, and then boom, Superman catches them.
yeah, I don't think that was even on my radar.
Brings them down to Earth safely. They get off. They hug their respective fathers, and they're all happy. And Solomon, Superman gives his son a speech, about that's what a Superman would do. And then boom, the hive mind shows up, and you see Batman and Damian like both throw exploding batarangs at it. John and Superman use their heat vision on its eye. Then Superman flies up, starts punching the crap out of it. John gets a tree as a baseball bat, and he's like, "You ready?" And then pitches Starro to John, who just whacks it with a tree. You can't get more classic than that. Like,
Yeah, and sends it back out the atmosphere.
Classic baseball game, father and sons. And then
which
the
seems to
Titans
incinerate it there.
want Damian, and he's like, I'll have to get back to you on that. And we get a scene of John's baseball game, and there's Lois, Bruce Wayne, Damian, and then Clark, and then Melvin.
Well, before we go to the baseball scene, we get Damian in the cave, and since Damian helped save the day, they are offering him induction into the Teen Titans. And he says, "I'll have to get back to you on that," and hangs up on Cassie. which is really funny. But Bruce says, "You're having too much fun with that, or you're enjoying that too much."
Yes.
And he says the little things, and he's real excited because it's really cool to see him excited as a child to go see a baseball game.
John,
he's never been to a baseball game, and it's his first and only friend's baseball game. So yeah, like everybody sees him as Robin, as son of Batman, as son of Talia and Ra's al Ghul, assassin, like all these other things except for Damian.
Yep. And brings
an 11-year-old child
because of his just
and John is the one person who sees that.
That's what I love about young John.
Yeah,
is that child energy. And then they're at the game, and John's up to bat, and Melvin's there giving him crap, and Damian walks by drinking his drink, and one touch. And they're like, "Come on, hit the ball, John." And Damian's like, "Hit it like it's an extraterrestrial."
Yeah, he's
extraterrestrial. Like creature in orbit, or goes off.
Hit it like it's a extraterrestrial. What does he say? Yeah. I really want to get it because it's
Not to
really
mention
funny
everybody's,
because
like, in
he
jeans,
says
t-shirts,
that,
and here's these two dudes
and
in
then
jeans.
like the whole
Bruce
crowd
don't know how to wear
looks at him.
jeans. He should have had a turtleneck on. He should have had jeans and a turtleneck, like
Right.
or a black and gray flannel, like he's trying to fit in.
I was gonna say Bruce Unknown jeans. Yeah, right.
And then John super bunts basically. He just tries to bunt
Black and gray flannel. That'd be hilarious.
Home runs it, and then it ends with John and Damien. I know it's still a super bunt.
It's in the infield. Everybody
Could be.
runs for
When
the
you're
ball.
Superboy, everything's a home run.
Oh yeah, no, it was just not a home run.
They're on top of a water tower in Smallville. Might I add, they are in Smallville.
Everything
I had
is
to
a
double
home run.
check, but they are in Smallville, and they're talking about what they're going to do, and they're like, "We're Supersons," and then Damien pushes John off the tower and's like, "Still can't fly." What would you rate this one?
Yeah, and that's how it ends. Now I like the end here of the movie. We're at the baseball game, and
I did love that one.
And Lois is like, "I thought you said you had an emergency," and he says Barry's handling it, like, and yeah, so it's giving more of the world, of course, and then
Yes, that's the quote.
And then you got Damien shouting, "Hit it
Everybody
like it's
just
an extraterrestrial parasitic monster."
But what would
That's
you rate
the
this
line. Right. I had a really good time with it. I mean, if we're going, I can sit down and watch it anytime at all. It's really fun. The characters are really good. It's a well done story. It's not long. It's an hour and 18 minutes with credits. Yeah. So it's not a big time commitment either. I mean, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 because, like I said, there wasn't much that I didn't enjoy about it.
I enjoyed it.
And
sometimes you watch these and I like that.
I can watch it anytime. Yeah, feel good movie.
I enjoyed it more
it's really
when
good.
I watched it again. And I got to watch it again because Janio didn't get to watch it, and she was mad that we watched it without her. And I'm like, look, the kids really wanted to watch it, and it was a great moment in time. So,
yeah, and I picked up little things between them.
Like, Batman's symbol.
The second
on the
watch
cow
through.
bucket. The Bat Cow has its own.
Like
brand.
the first time watching it, I must have looked away right before the credits. Because the first time I didn't see him push him and say "still can't fly." I must have looked away the first time. So the second time when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's hilarious."
Still can't fly.
Yeah.
That'll be the arc in the second one. And it's good that flight comes a little bit later. It works. But all right, we're gonna wrap it up here for our midday review here on this extremely nice weather in November. It took us a while to make this episode. Just we don't even go into all the backgrounds of getting this episode going, but man, this one was a chore.
Oh yeah, we started it once already, and it was like, nope,
technical problems,
that's not happening.
Rescheduling, life. But everyone, check out Supersons and
Look up in the sky.
we just want to say, if you've enjoyed this podcast, please check out other podcasts on the Press Play Podcast Network.